back to the channel and a new video. We're going to follow on today with last week's video. It's talking about this 20 mile an hour. Last video done really well. A lot of people were interacting with it, which is great. It helps the YouTube algorithm. A lot of people commenting, which is also great. I'd like to thank everyone who did take their time to watch it and they were liking and commenting. That really does help. I watched and read back through a lot of the comments. There was so many on there, I didn't get a chance to read them all, but there's some great points there from both sides of the argument. So that was interesting to see how many people were interacting with it. It was proper good. This week now, well, we've been living with this 20 mile an hour for about a week now. My take on it, what's happened, how I feel about it, and what I've been speaking to other people. So first of all, talk about the signs and the vandalism that's been taking place. So there was 4 or 5 groups of signs that I've seen that have been painted over or scratched or whatever, but the council are quickly clearing them off, because I've just been now to go on, well, I've been past a sign that I knew was painted over and now that's back to a 20 mile an hour. So the councils are out there doing it. The main thing is the cost involved with that sort of a side of it. The councils have said they've only had this money once from the government, and then repairs and maintenance of these signs is going to come out the local council budget, which they're already being slashed and cut backs and all the rest of it, so they haven't really got the money to keep up with this. So it's going to cost the local taxpayer obviously more money with the damages that's being done. I don't condone the damages or anything, but if people are doing it and they're everyday normal people, I think it says it all, doesn't it, that this is no good and we don't want it. So that's one side of it, and living with it. So at the moment it's 20 mile an hour in the 30 zones. A lot of people I see on the road, I think they're confused. A lot of people are unsure of what the speed is, so they're in 30 mile an hour zones, well now are 20 mile an hour zones, they're driving into 40 mile an hour zones and they're just staying at 20 mile an hour. Going past a police car the other day, I was following a group of traffic and they seen the police car and they were in a 40 mile an hour zone and they slammed their brakes on and went to 20 mile an hour, which makes me think that they're not reading the road, they don't, and they're just the confusion about it. Some of the roads around here it says 30 on the floor and 20 on the sign, and then other places it says 30 on the sign and 20 on the floor. So people just don't know what the speed limit is, and they're just paranoid and they're just going, well let's just do 20 everywhere, and then that, you know, that clears me of getting pulled over. I spoke to a chap the other day, a good friend of mine, who was speaking to one of the local police. I'm not going to mention his name, but he asked his take on it and he said, look, come on, what do you guys think? And he said, at the end of the day, we get out of our normal police cars and we get back into our normal road cars. And he pretty much said, I don't agree with this either, but while they're in uniform they've got to follow the suit. And what he said was, he asked him, you know, are you going to be pulling people over doing 20 mile an hour? And the guy simply turned around and said, look, if you're not taking the mick and you're doing 30 in a 20 mile an hour zone, we're not going to bother you. You know, unless you're being stupid, they're not going to bother you. On our local Facebook group, someone had put up, someone was doing 20 mile an hour through a local town and she got overtaken by a police officer in a police car, no blues and twos, and he overtook her. So I think that says it all, really. A lot of the overtaking I've been seeing lately, there's so many more people out there overtaking now, because you get the odd one doing 20 mile an hour and you get 4 cars trying to pass him, which is dangerous. You see more stupid manoeuvres now and stupid, more risky overtakes on the road because of this 20 mile than you ever did when it was 30 mile an hour. Everyone just seemed to just go about their business when it was 30, but 20 is so slow. There's a lot of people now just overtaking people. We did that video last week and we were talking about the stopping distances and all the rest of it, which was, I nearly ran over a bird then. Yeah, so we were doing about the stopping distances and whatnot. A lot of people said I didn't factor in reaction times, which is true. I can't factor in reaction times. We were trying to do a genuine difference between 20 and 30 between 2 points, and that is obviously the numbers that we come back with. You can't do much more than that because I can't factor in everybody else's reaction time, because some people react differently to other people. So that is just the driver, so that comes down to the driver. I can't predict that and we can't put that in. but we just wanted to show the difference between 20 and 30 mile an hour. Yeah, moving on into the roads. Oh, the chock-a-block at the moment. The amount of people I'm seeing just stuck behind traffic, and it's just going for miles, you know, especially in some of the towns where it's a lot of footfall and you've got a lot of traffic. It's almost impossible to get about. Everyone's driving like trains, you know, they're just all bumper to bumper going for miles, and you can't pull out now. Like, pulling out of junctions is becoming almost impossible, especially in these bigger towns, because there's no space, nobody's letting you out. Excuse me. Yeah, there's nobody's letting you out. Everyone's just bumper to bumper, so there's no gaps. There's no gaps in the traffic for you to pull out. And even though they're doing 20 mile an hour, you can't get out. You start waiting for ages. It's just a nightmare. I was speaking to a guy on deliveries the other day. I was asking this chap how's he getting on with it, and he said, oh, it's a nightmare. He said, I'm struggling, and because his van's on tracker, they can't speed. So he has to follow the 20 mile an hour rules, whether he wants to or not. His van will obviously grass him up to his firm, etc. So he will be in trouble if he drives more than 20 mile an hour. And he said, I'm struggling to get my drops done. They were already pushed for time. Now, he said, it's almost impossible to do as many drops. And because they're getting paid per drop, his wages, he says, look, they're going to be decreasing because I'm not doing as many drops as I would normally be doing. So that's taking money out of people's pocket. But where do we go from here? So it's all going to well whinging and moaning about it. So what we're going to do, whether you want to get involved or not, we're going to do a poll. So I'm not sure how we do that, but we'll figure that out. So if you get involved with that, that would be great. A yay or nay, whether you agree with it or not agree with it, and we'll try and get a percentage. And what we're going to do is we're going to send that to our local MP and put that information forward and just say, look, this is whatever side of the argument it comes round for, but I'm pretty sure it's going to come round for we don't want this 20 mile an hour. So we're going to push for a poll, and we're going to end that next Friday. So that's a big thing that we're going to try and do, and at least we might be able to do something by getting some numbers together. That obviously that petition's doing really well. I think last time I checked it was up to 400,000, which is a hell of a lot of people. So it's really not, it's annoying a lot of people, you know. Right, so don't forget to try and get involved with this poll that we're going to do. So it's going to be in the link in the description, or it's going to be somewhere around the video. I'm not 100% sure how it will work, but my editor says it will be fine. So yeah, don't forget to, if you want to get involved, we're going to try and send this off to the MP, get as many numbers as we can, people voting, which will be great. So don't forget to share this video around, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video, and drop us a comment as well. See how because it's always good to hear other people's opinions. So yes, that's the main thing in this video. Get it shared around, get a lot of people interested, get people interacting, and we'll go from there. Fingers crossed we might get something done, and we'll end this on the next week Friday, and we'll see what the numbers we've got, and we'll send it out to the local MP and see if we can get our voices heard, I suppose, because 20 mile an hour is a bit slow. But yeah, thanks very much for watching, and I'll catch you all on the next one.